everyone is different. Everyone's body. So like, there could be someone in this room who's already experienced menopause but has none of those symptoms that you're describing. One of the things you did say is that you're on thyroid medication. You need to make sure your doctor has those levels appropriate.
Yeah.
Because just because you're being prescribed it, you still have to have the following, the test done to make sure those levels are the way they're supposed to be. And the supplementation with the vitamin D is important. D3 specifically is important as well. So eating right is definitely important. Following directions in terms of the medications you're supposed to be taking is important. Stress reduction as much as you can is important. Exercise is important, for you to incorporate. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a multifactorial type of process, but it's life.
Yeah. Yeah, and going back to the question again about the annual physical, sometimes in that basics, I'm not sure if the hormone levels are in there, and it's very important for men and women to get their hormones level checked, because if they are too low, there are a whole series of diseases that come across with low hormones, but for both men for their testosterone and women for the estrogen. So that's an important part of your panel screen also.
One of the things that I find that's become more of a problem in the last 10 years, and really in the last 20 years, is that we now have things like genetically engineered corn and soy. And ever since soy has been introduced at this level of manipulation, we have seen allergies skyrocket. And in England, where in Europe, I have to say, they are much more protected against these things. And then what had happened is they introduced this genetically engineered soya, and in England, the allergies went sky high, and they pulled it off the market. Because, see, in Europe, they are still, the big companies are very careful because they have different laws. Here, they can give it to you and not tell you, and they don't get in trouble for it. So now, it becomes a very different type of consultation, I have to say, because I've been doing this for 30 years, and I see this whole change in what has to be made available to you so you understand what the possibilities are. So it actually takes us more education to be healthy today. Okay.
Right. Yeah. And not just genetically modified corn, but wheat and soy. And I know Jamie knows this, but in China, where they consume a huge amount of wheat, they don't have hardly any gluten intolerance. So it's very clear that the natural wheat, that our body recognizes as good, genetically modified stuff is just not good for us. So, point well taken.
Dr. Ertha.
When you think about it, why do we have so much autism now? We see more pancreatic cancer than we've ever seen. They want to link it to immunizations, autism to immunizations, but the medication, the pharmaceutical companies never changed the immunizations, because that's something that everybody's going to use forever. They didn't change that. The only thing that changed in our society is the amount and how we produce our food. We started eating more, so they learned to mass produce our food, and that in turn produced a lot of different changes. When we were all small, we all ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. When I was little, I never heard of anybody being allergic to peanuts. You can't get a peanut on an airplane anymore now because everybody's allergic to them. Where did that come from? They learned to mass produce our food, and that in turn resulted in disease. So we have to educate ourselves as to pure food. We have to get back to that. Medicine is catching up because now it has resulted in too much disease. And economic-wise, it's creating a problem. When it becomes too great a problem, economically it's great for the people that produce the food and the fast food industry and whatever, that's fine. But now it's creating too much disease, and so now we're always behind what we create. And so now nutrition it's coming. It is. It's coming. They'll either go back to the way we used to produce food, or we'll have to figure out a way to circumvent the problem that has now been created. But the only thing that changed in all these years is what we did to our food.